Hi guys, in this video we're gonna create a ranged enemy treasure. A ranged enemy treasure is an actor which contains a gold ball, a gold sphere. When we loot that gold sphere, ranged enemies are gonna spawn inside the level and start attacking us. So, because we took what's theirs. So to begin, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a spawn point. So this is an actor which is gonna indicate a spawn location for a ranged enemy or a zombie. I'm gonna right click in the enemies folder and create a new blueprint class which I'm gonna call based on actor, which I'm gonna call spawn point. I'm gonna access this class. I'm gonna close the task that we created last time, clear aim field, and just keep these classes. So we have the spawn point blueprint class. We're gonna just add a simple component which is gonna be a billboard, just a representation inside the level, represented by a dinosaur head, and that's it. So this is gonna be the spawn point for an enemy inside the level. Gonna close it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna access the UI folder and create a new widget blueprint which is gonna contain the message which is gonna be displayed on the screen by the ranged enemy treasure when we enter its perimeter. So right click, user interface, widget blueprint, gonna call it instruction. This widget blueprint class, gonna access it. It's gonna be a simple widget blueprint, so I'm gonna add a text, anchor it to the bottom of the screen, set its alignment to 0.5 x and y, and then I'm gonna position it in the center, which is 0x. Size to content, to be sized to the content of the contained text. I'll just drag it up a little bit, just like that. That should be okay. I'm gonna call it instruction text, this text block. That's it. I'm gonna go now to the graph. I'm gonna add a variable which we're gonna call message. We're gonna set its type to text, and we're gonna make it instance editable and expose on spawn for when we create this widget blueprint from another blueprint. We're gonna set this variable on the creation of the widget blueprint. So back to the designer, and we're gonna bind the content of this text block to that message variable. So bind, that should be it. Compile, save. We no longer need to open this instruction blueprint. I'm gonna close the behavior tree also, the AI control for the ranged enemy, and I will access the enemies folder now and create the ranged enemy treasure blueprint. So blueprint class, new blueprint class, parent class actor, ranged enemy treasure. Access it, and now we're gonna do some work inside the viewport for how this ranged enemy treasure looks. We're gonna add a sphere static mesh and we're gonna add capsule collision component. This one. For the capsule collision component, for that, the sphere, we're gonna scale it down a little bit, 0.5 in all dimensions, and we're gonna give it a material, a gold material, so provided in the starter content, a metal gold. I'm gonna give it that material. So this is a gold ball, This is the treasure of ranged enemies. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna size the capsule. Gonna just scale it 5 times in all dimensions, just like that. The sphere, we're gonna lift it up a little bit, 90 units in the z-axis. So this is the representation of ranged enemy treasure. Now we're gonna access the event graph. We don't need the begin play and the event tick events. Gonna delete them. We need the actor begin overlap, also actor and overlap. Event actor, yes, this one. And we need also an event input. So to do that, we're gonna access the project settings, and we're gonna add a new input, a new action input, engine input, then action mappings. We add a new input, a new action input. We're gonna call it interact, and we're gonna assign the letter E of the keyboard as control key, as a starter key. Should I call it as a bound key? I'll just search for E, uppercase, this one, keyboard. I'm gonna assign it the E key of the keyboard. I'm gonna close the project settings now and go back to the ranged enemy treasure and call that input, that action input from within the blueprint. So interact, input action events, interact, this one. I just position them in the right places. Now we start by actor begin overlap. We're gonna add a variable here, which we're gonna call activated. This is a Boolean variable. So when our player character overlaps the capsule collision, we're gonna check to see if the treasure is already activated, which means the ball is already stolen. So if it is activated, we're gonna do nothing. If it's not activated yet, we're gonna cast the other actor overlapping to the first person character to see if it is the player character overlapping the ranged enemy treasure. Cast successful. What we're gonna do is we're gonna display the instruction on the screen. So gonna create widget. The class is gonna be the instruction class, which we just created. The variable exposed on spawn. Message, we're gonna indicate, press E, enter a message, press E. We're gonna set a message, press E to loot, meaning to loot the gold ball. After that, we're gonna promote this to a variable, the widget, which we're gonna call instruction. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add it to the viewport to display it. to display the message, the widget. After that, we're gonna enable the input on the ranged enemy treasure to receive the input of the player character. So enable input. Player controller is gonna be the player controller for the player number 0, which is us, because this is a single player game. So get player controller. That should be it. That should be it. Just like that. After that, well, I'm gonna just yes. After that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a comment to this. Actor, gonna set a comment, actor begin overlap display the message, instruction, display the instruction, and enable the inputs. Just drag it up a little bit, and now for the actor and overlap, what we're gonna do is we're gonna disable the input on the ranged enemy treasure and remove the message. So here we're gonna check, of course, to see if it is the first person character, cast to alright, cast successful. Gonna get the instruction, remove from parent, and then what we're gonna do, disable input. No need to set the player controller there, but we're gonna no need to set the player controller, but we're gonna do it anyway. Disable the input just for the first player, just for the first player. I'm gonna set a comment to this actor and overlap, disable, remove the instruction and disable the inputs, like that. Now on to the activation of the ranged enemy treasure, meaning the stealing of the gold ball. First of all, when the player hits the key, the E key of the keyboard, to activate the input interact, what we're gonna do is we're gonna check for, first of all, if this is activated. If this is activated, nothing is gonna happen, of course. If it's not, first of all, we remove the instruction, because now we're firing the ranged enemy treasure. So remove from parent again, activated false. Right. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set activated to true. So I'm gonna just do an alt drag to this inside the event graph to set the variable, and then we're gonna do a delay. After the process has started, we're gonna do a delay of a set time. We're gonna promote it to a variable for an easy modification later on if you want. So we're gonna just call time to wait, or wait time before delay, before enemy spawn. That should be it. Delay before enemy spawn, this variable. We're gonna set its default value to 5. So before spawning the ranged enemies, there's gonna be a 5-second delay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do get all actors from class of class, and we're gonna get all the spawn points inside the level. So spawn point. We're gonna do later on to the returned array. We're gonna do for each. We're gonna do for each loop. Sorry, for each loop. Next, we're gonna do for the array element for each returned spawn point. We're gonna get its location. Get actor location. For the loop body, we're gonna do spawn actor from class. Gonna set this to ranged enemy. We're gonna split the spawn transform of the ranged enemy, split struct pin, and we're gonna input the actor location of the spawn point. So the ranged enemy is gonna spawn in the location of that spawn point in the level. That should be it. So we have a bunch of ranged enemies spawned in the locations of the spawn points returned in the in this array. Get all actors of class spawn point, and that should be it for the mechanism launched when the player activates the ranged enemy treasure. That should be it. That should be it right there. Okay, I'm gonna add a comment to this. Player input remove the instruction wait a set time, then spawn the ranged enemies at the spawn points, like that. Yeah, and I'm gonna increase the size of this comment because it turned out pretty small for its content. Then I'm gonna compile my ranged enemy treasure class and save it. We're done with this class. The default values are set correct, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some level design, some working on the level, placing the actors in their respective places. The ranged enemy treasure is gonna be on top of this box. We're gonna set its material to be different, to be distinct, for us to easily locate it. In the top view, gonna just select all its, because it is a brush, I'm gonna select all its faces with Shift B. Now it's selected as a whole. It's totally selected. I'm gonna set the material to concrete provided in the starter content. Concrete. This one, M concrete tiles. Good material for this. Now I'm gonna place my ranged enemy treasure inside this, inside the level, on top of this box. Decrease the camera speed a little bit. I have my ranged enemy treasure right here. Gonna just place it. Gonna do a top view for the viewport. Gonna just move to that area. I'm seeing the box, and now I'm gonna place my ranged enemy treasure. So just right there, a good point. That should be it. Gonna move to perspective view now. Gonna do some further little work on this instance of the ranged enemy treasure class. So just in the details panel, gonna select the capsule component. Gonna just scale it a little bit with R. Unlock the lock to little bit with R. For the X and Y, I'm gonna set them to 9.5, and for the Z, gonna set it to 6. Should be okay for the scale. So we want capsule collision like that in the level. Just drag it down a little bit, that capsule. It should be like that. Yes, it's alright. To detect the player character overlapping the perimeter of the ranged enemy treasure. Now we're gonna select this, the sphere component. Just lift it up a little bit. Before that, we're gonna scale it. So we're gonna scale it to 1 for a bigger sphere. Gonna just drag it up a little bit. It should be okay. For a ranged enemy treasure, top view again, making sure it is centered on top of the box. That's fine. Back to perspective view. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place my spawn points inside the level for the ranged enemies. So I'm gonna increase the camera speed to 5 for this matter, and I'm gonna place my spawn points. For a good reference for the Z location value, I'm gonna select my ranged enemy, living inside the level. Gonna get his Z location component. Gonna copy it to this one, this spawn point. Okay, and then I'm gonna duplicate it to the other side for another ranged enemy. So Alt, the other side, right there. I'm gonna place another one here and another one here. Again, another spawn point right there. I'm gonna get my ranged enemy on the platform. Hit the AND key to drag it to that platform, and I'm gonna copy again his Z value, his Z location value. I'm gonna paste it for the spawn point on top of the platform. I'm gonna duplicate this one to the other side with Alt. That should be okay. So when I'm gonna delete the ranged enemy remaining in the level, so when we activate the ranged enemy treasure, a ranged enemy is gonna spawn here, another one here, another one there, and another one there to defend their property. Now I'm gonna hit play to see how it goes. Before that, of course, I should make sure for the spawned ranged enemy to not remain brainless inside the level. In class defaults, auto possess AI, you should set it to place it in world and spawn it to cover also the spawned ranged enemies. This one. And you compile and you save your ranged enemy class. We save all just in case and we hit play to see how it goes. Now I have before that also I should make sure my weapons are lethal. So in the guns folder I'm gonna open all the player character weapons classes, edit, not the assault rifle pickup, of course, the assault rifle itself, this one. We start by the pistol, class defaults, damage 0.1. The assault rifle damage also 0.1. And the shotgun damage 0.5. Gonna save all. Compile each one, of course. Should compile each one and save all. Gonna hit play to see the gameplay. I have my pistol, I have my assault rifle. I should also activate the shotgun for the player character, so as if he picked up the shotgun picked up, yes. Compile again, save all to test the game. Play. We have the pistol, we have the shotgun, we have the assault rifle. Now we're gonna loot the treasure of the ranged enemies. Press E to loot. Yeah. Now we're gonna press E to loot it. Before that, I forgot to destroy the gold sphere when it is activated, so remove from parent, activated, alright. Now I should just remove also the gold sphere. Sphere, destroy component, this one. Remove from parent instruction, pair input, remove the sphere, remove the instruction, wait a set time, then spawn the ranged enemies at the spawn points. Sphere, destroy component. Yeah. Compile and save again, and we hit play to see how it goes. Save all. Hit play to see how it goes. So guys, I'm gonna approach the ranged enemy treasure now and loot the treasure. Now after 5 seconds there gonna be 5 ranged enemies who's gonna attack me. As you can see, they spawned inside the level and they're doing their thing, attacking me, having stolen their treasure. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video and see you in the next video. Goodbye.